What is up, my veggies? My name is VTR, and welcome back to another movie review. And today we're gonna be reviewing Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Before we get into this, let's go ahead and read the synopsis. This latest entry in the MonsterVerse franchise follows up an explosive showdown of Godzilla versus Kong with an all-new cinematic adventure, pitting the almighty Kong and the fearsome Godzilla against a colossal undiscovered threat within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. The epic new film will bulge, is that the right? Further into the history of these titans, their origins, and the mystery of Skull Island and beyond, while uncovering the mythic battle that happened to forge these extraordinary beings and tied them into humankind forever. Now, going into this movie, I guess I could say I had decent expectations. I thought the movie looked like a lot of fun and everything. And I think if you liked Godzilla X versus Kong, this is almost just more of that, except Godzilla and Kong are on the same side, even though they do fight at one point in the movie. But one thing that people don't like about these movies is when they focus too much on the human characters, and there is some of that in here, but I think it's about the same as it was in Godzilla X Kong. It's not focused on too much, but what we do focus on with the human characters, I think, is interesting and fun, and there is some funny moments in the movie. But obviously, what you want to see is the kaiju fights, which I think does a really good job. I think the kaiju fights in this movie are fun, and there's also big long scenes of silence. There are big long scenes of silence with this, like, where you see Kong, like, no dialogue, Kong and the mini Kong, I forget what his name is, but them it's kind of it kind of gives a God of War vibe with like with Kratos and Atreus. It kind of gives that vibe, I think, and I don't hate it really. um the villain is a little interesting also, but I don't really care that much. I just like seeing these them fight, and the fights are like what I think is the some of the best parts of this film is the fights. um I think it is over the top. I think it is over the top. Uh just brutal, but also is like, also it feels like, because like, I'm pretty sure like at one point someone gets body slammed, and it's like this is just straight up wrestling at this point. And I'm like, okay, this is a little silly, but I can suspend my disbelief in here. And I don't know if it's me, but a little bit of the CG is a little weird to me at points. Like, there's a lot of times it looks fun, it looks good, but there's also times it's like, okay, I can tell this is CGI. I'm not really sucked in with it, but there's some shots like that. Um, but overall, I think the movie knows what it's here to do and does it very well. They introduce some interesting concepts from these movies and everything. Um, but here's the thing, Godzilla fans, you are gonna be very disappointed. I think if you're expecting a lot of focus on Godzilla, because I feel like Godzilla still gets a decent amount of attention, but this is a Kong focused movie. I'm saying whatever movie's in the MonsterVerse next, it needs to be Godzilla focused. Um, Whether Kong is in it or not, it needs to be a lot more Godzilla focused. And there's also a lot of other things that are brought up in this movie that are just like kind of glossed over. Like, oh, we just know where another kaiju is that Godzilla goes and finds, that it takes its power from. So that's a little bit of a spoiler, I guess. And that was a little bit of okay. But I ain't gonna lie, one of the best things about this movie to me is Sleeping Godzilla. There's even a Funko Pop of it that I want to get. It's literally the Sleeping Godzilla, and it's freaking amazing. Um, like he, um, but overall, I think the movie has the action you want from this kind of movie. It's got the over the topness. the fighting and everything. It's just overall, the movie is giving you exactly what you want. Some people I think are gonna play about that focus on the human characters, and I don't care about these human characters. Um, I don't think there's a problem with the human characters here this time around. I think they're just there to like have the story move along, and I think they do all right with that. I don't think they're insufferable. I don't think they're. I am engaged a little bit with their story. I don't think, and I think some of the comedy that some of the human characters provide in this movie. I forget the actor's name. Um, um, Brian Trace Henry. He is probably gives a lot of comedy. He's the only other one that returns from the last movie. The girl from Stranger Things isn't in this one. Which isn't a problem per se. I don't really remember probably that much importance to the last film anyway. But overall, I think this movie does a lot of fun. I think I really would have preferred more Godzilla because I'm more of a Godzilla fan than a Kong fan. But personally, I think the movie does a good job at what want to see. You want to see kaiju's punch each other in the face. You want to see kaiju's fight, and, and you get that. The villains, I guess there are multiple, are interesting. Um, I think the villains are interesting. I think they're handled relatively decently. I don't. There's not much to them. I don't. It's not like with. But there are a few other. There are a few other things in the movie where I'm just like, okay, we can move past this and everything. But I think some of the dramatic moments, especially one with Kong, the scene where he gets that robot fist that you see in the trailers. That I think is a good like emotional scene. I think that's handled well. There is something that's shown in the movie that revealed in the movie that I don't want to talk too much about, but I don't feel like it adds too much to the actual story. Um, I feel like it's kind of just, oh, this is a thing now and everything, and it's not bad, but like I just didn't care that much about it. Um, but overall, I think the movie just does what you want it to. Like I said, critics give this movie a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences give it a 91%, which I imagine like the more a general audience likes these movies more than the critics, obviously. Personally, I'm gonna give this movie myself a. I'm gonna think about. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I think that's a solid point for this type of film. I think it does exactly. Like I said, I think it is exactly. I'm being very repetitive in this review, but overall, I think it is a good episode, a good movie. I think it is fun. You're gonna have a lot of fun. It clocks right under 2 hours. I think that's. Oh, that's another thing. You do kind of feel the length of this movie. That is another thing. At least I did. It definitely was like you definitely felt how you could feel that this movie was long, and so it does drag at a few points, and that's something I never like in movies when it's like when you can like feel how long it is. No, then again, never mind. No, I have movies you can feel how long it is, but you still enjoy every moment of it. But like this movie's like, oh, this is when you get like, oh, this is slow, or this is dragging, or oh, this movie's long. Like when you can like realize it, and like you have to point it out to yourself. It's like, yeah. But that's really all I've got to say for this review, guys. Real quick, guys, want to see our merch. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. Link in the description. Also, you guys can go check out get you some dubby. Also, link in the description. Get 10% off your order. And that's all I got to say for this review, guys. I really do hope you guys enjoy each and enjoyed this video, and your next review will finally be my review for Freddy versus Jason. Keep an eye out for it coming. So hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see each and every one of you guys in the next. Bye.